You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
And as always, thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is episode 445 of the podcast. We are talking about the NCAA Women's Final Four preview. The games are tomorrow. Before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. I've already recorded the men's Final Four preview. 443, 442, those videos are already out. Once the Final Four for the men and women's are done, I'll preview the championship games, and then that'll be it for the NCAA tournament for the season. We're here for the WNBA. Before we get into the previews, a couple things did happen this week that I do think is important to talk about. Here's some news. Olivia Miles has decided to transfer. She's now in the transfer portal. And I think it's really, really weird that when players transfer, the automatic assumption is because of NIL. Let's think about it for a second. Olivia, prior to this season, missed the year because of injury. Also, too, it played alongside really, in my opinion, a pass first guard. So why not take another year to not only better your craft? And then also, too, like Brendan Pasta was on here. Sometimes your school gotten 2-3 degrees. Notre Dame may not have your master's X, Y, and Z. And secondly, more importantly, Notre Dame is quite an expensive school. So, I mean, she got a full ride, but I mean, to go to Notre Dame, that's exceptionally well. So I think that, there's no shame in taking another year for yourself, because I'm a firm believer in an education will get you further in life than hitting a baseball, throwing a football, hitting a baseball, dribbling a basketball. Because if all that fell to pieces tomorrow, what do you have to stand on? But the first thing I hate, because especially like example, First Take, like the conversation they talked about it went completely from Olivia Miles to completely talking about the WNBA. And that wasn't even the question. Like, we understand that the WNBA from a financial standpoint has to get their stuff together, but I mean, they're in the midst of CBA negotiations. But also, too, I think some people don't understand that NIL deals go with them when they go pro, which turn into endorsements. So, for example, like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, those are now endorsements when they now in professional. Now they're in the WNBA. So for everyone to keep thinking, well, they made $76,000, but also too, you're not thinking about the incentives in their contract as well. I get it. You mean it just sometimes I think we need to think before we speak, because I like it's just weird, because also too it's just like seeing and hearing some of the things I've seen on social media, and like again, shout out to the committee, shout out to the Best NW show, like they broke it down the most and explaining like how NIL, all those things work. And it's just kind of like the way how some people on social media explain it, it's like, where are you getting these numbers from? So wherever Olivia goes, I wish her all the best. But again, like, let her get better from the defensive side, and also too, let her be better as a guard, as a pass first guard too. There's no shame in developing your craft as a player. The same with Flage. Flage is coming back to LSU. Personally, I think she needed another year. She did turn 22 this year. So a couple things. Eligibility is like, unfortunately for the men's side, you can be eligible right out of high school to apply for the NBA draft, versus you have to be 22 or had completed your third year of college. So Flage could have opted to forgo her senior year to opt into her to go into the WNBA draft, but she's staying another year. I think she could continue to work on her craft because she's going to go up against bigger guards. My only concern is question that she gets when she goes to the pros is what position she will be. I think she will be more. I consider being more of a pass first guard. So I think just working on her defense. Same thing with like Anisha. I think Anissa. My apologies. Just gotta figure out what position she will be when she gets in the W. So I'm not mad at it. So I mean, she's going to come back another year. Ayoka Lee, she is foregoing the WNBA. She's going to pursue other endeavors. I wish her all the best. 7 years at K-State as a Wildcat. She had one hell of a career in the Big 12. What if her freshman year she redshirted, and then the 2022 season she got hurt, and it's unfortunate. So what definitely nice if she gave it a try, but I wish her all the best. I understand sometimes they listen to your body now, not later, because we've seen players do exceptionally well in college, and then when they get into the pros, this is at any level, any sport, and the injury bug is something. My understanding is she finished her master's. I think it's like something like family therapy, something like that. So I wish her all the best, and congratulations on that in the new chapter. So that is pretty much all the news. My understanding with the transfer portal from per Talia Goodman, let me just check. There was, as of today, 1,162 transfers. That's damn near almost 25%. That's 1/4 of women's basketball, and I think that is insane. I'm a proponent of we got to have some reform. NIL has done a lot. I could go on and on and on. I'm all for players getting a bag and all those things, but NIL has stripped power of coaches. I think, I think sometimes for me, especially for freshmen, if you committed to a school, I feel like you are ineligible to transfer to your sophomore year, because I feel like you not only wasted your time, but you wasted the school's time to recruit you. I feel like freshmen should be ineligible to transfer. And then also what are you looking for in the portal? And then the money, like if most of these schools may not have the resources, or they may go, I'm good. And then now you're stuck. Then what? So, we need to have some because this is insane. 20 almost 25% of this that's crazy. I'm sorry. We got to have a conversation about it. But let's move on to the Final Four preview. We're going to start with South Carolina Gamecocks versus Texas. Let's just break this down. I think this is my game to watch. If you watched, especially against Tennessee, Texas has, to me, proved why they are a number one seed. I think to beat South Carolina, and even what they is scoring, even I'm curious to see how they will do that against the South Carolina defense. Even the SEC tournament, they at times struggle to score. How do you disrupt South Carolina defensively? Madison Booker is going to have to be the key. And Madison Booker in the SEC championship scored 10 points on 13 shots, 4 out of 13. So they need more out of her. It's going to be really interesting to see from South Carolina's perspective. You leaned on your seniors. Your vets. Excuse me, Chloe Kitts, Sinai Fagan, Bree Hall, Tahina Paopao, Raven Johnson, but Malaysia, Tessa Johnson, Joyce Edwards. They are going to have to step up. Even though they beat Duke, they scored 54 points. They didn't get much from the young guns. So, I mean, it's will the young blood, as I like to say, that's my way of saying, because Malaysia, Tessa and George, this is going to be their team at some point. They're the ones that are going to be asked to step up. And, Malaysia did that, especially in the second half against Maryland. And you saw that. I just think, sometimes, hey, it happens. There are some games where it's not a game for you, matchup wise, all those things. So it's going to be interesting to see how they look. I think I'm going to pick South Carolina only because I think I just think they have depth, and defense wins championships. You go up against a Carol Lawson team that is built on defense, and you had 10 players, and you've had 7 different players that have led in scoring in a game. So they can beat you in different ways. So how do you take one away is going to be something interesting. How to taking one away is going to be something to watch. I mean, South Carolina has flaws. I mean, they lost in the regular season. I mean, they lost to UCLA, UConn, they shot the ball well. UCLA, in the half court with their offense did well. The same thing with UConn. They did well beating them off the dribble, creating open looks. But, I mean, you saw against Maryland as an example. But, there are adjustments. So I think – but each 4 of these teams are vulnerable to lose and beat. Texas, they don't have 3-point shooters to me. I mean, really, honestly, outside of Madison Booker, I mean, to me, against TCU, they only took two shots behind from 3. They're 8 of 24 throughout this whole tournament. I can't defend that. I mean, UConn has took 26 against Oklahoma. Let that sink in for a second. Without shooting threes, how they look. I mean, Vic is a good coach, but defense, we talk about with Sean Spencer, bend but don't break. But at some point, defensively, you're going to have cracks in the armor. So it's going to be interesting to see how, with them, Roy Harmon is an all-ball defender, positioning, all those different things, and how they'll look against, an offense that doesn't have a Camilla, doesn't have, a true size. So this is almost like Houston and Duke, defense versus defense. But I still think this is South Carolina's game to win, in my opinion. Now, this is the one that I'm going to be definitely concerned to watch for sure. Obviously, for me, I think this game is going to show two different things. You're going to see two different styles of play. But I also, too, I think we're going to get back to, and shout out to Shay from the committee. She brought this out, and I agree with it. I think showing more appreciation in terms of having a big that I think can draw attention and make others better, and especially that they can thrive in the W. And then you have Paige. So you have two different styles of play. So it's gonna be interesting to see which one will dominate in the end. Because again, obviously, example, UCLA, USC, Juju, won as an example. Same thing with when we played them here, UCLA and Maryland. Lauren Betts, beat us. So I think what's going to be interesting to see with this matchup is that small ball lineup, because I know there's times where they went small, and especially a little pick and roll the UConn runs. That's something to definitely watch. But I think what's going to be interesting to watch is how the refs call. I know sometimes, especially all defensive guards can get a little ball. It will get a little handsy. So it's going to be interesting to see how they call certain fouls. If I'm right, UCLA should win the game, but I have a feeling, depending on how, especially from a front court perspective, UConn does, that's something to watch. Because Sarah Strong and Janaea El Effie, they're going to have their hands. They're going to have their work cut out containing Lauren tomorrow. And but I mean, it's also going to take really AZ, Paige, and others to win as well. So I'm really going to be interested to see how that looks. But I'm looking at a UCLA team, this is their first time getting the Final Four. I mean, they haven't, outside of Maryland. I mean, South Carolina back in was 17. So I'm just curious to see how, with inexperience, see how they'll look. I mean, with UConn, I think, Paige, I know, wants to finish her career on a high note for sure. They just don't have the size, in my opinion. I mean, Ice Brady, and then there's Janaea, excuse me. But it's going to be just interesting to see, because what she actually did against Kiki Arifin and Reagan Beers was not, I'll give them that. They actually did a good job. But if Sarah Strong gets in foul trouble, that's some offense you lose because that's now on the bench. So that will hurt. So it's going to be interesting to see the foul trouble, if UConn can stay out of that, and then also to how if they'll go small. But it's also going to be UCLA's guards too, like Kiki Rice, Tamia Gardner, and Janiah Barker too. It's going to be them too. It's outside of that. They got to be the ones to show up as well. But I'm going to say UCLA wins. I'm going to give them the edge. 76-70.
Guaranteed.
And South Carolina beats Texas 64-62.
Guaranteed.
I think it's going to be one of like those. It's not going to be like that. The game's going to be one, not like on free throws, but I just see it's going to be something like that. It's going to be like a low, relatively scoring game. I could be wrong, but I mean that's my preview for the Final Four. I think it should be a good Final Four matchup. So it'll be interesting to see Lauren Betts, Paige Beckers, and then you've got on the other side Madison Booker, Raven Johnson, Roy Harmon, Chloe Kitts. Should be interesting to watch. These four teams earned it, and you got 3 number 1 seeds and 2 number 1 seeds, and also too, these seeds were earned because of, based on how they did well in the season, and also to who they would go up against. So, like example, like would have been nice to have all 4 number 1 seeds, sure, but no, these 4 teams, they earned their seeds respectfully. So I'm just going to be interested. I'm just weird, just how some people just can't enjoy basketball. But for the UCLA, like I said, for the game UCLA UConn depth, against a UConn roster that doesn't have the size and the paint, definitely something to watch for that. And then you're just looking at, for South Carolina and Texas, you're just looking at defense versus defense. I think they have the veterans that can they have the tenacity to will their team to win. And they have the depth. And then you have Texas that, they have, I think they have the talent. It's just, they got to be consistent. And they just got to just hope shots fall. Because especially, like, for example, in the Tennessee-Texas game, that fourth quarter was a little lackluster. And I hope that's not the case. So let's get into our commercial, and then we'll be right back with one final thought.
Thoughts are running through my mind. Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize.
All right, one final thought is we're here at the Final Four. I wish these 4 teams all the best. It's been fun. NCAA basketball, college basketball is almost coming to a close. I cannot believe that. Again, it's great basketball. The Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 went by extremely fast. Something that Coach Gino Ariema said, and even Kim Mulkey said, they gotta go back to what the brackets were before to have those split up, because I don't like that. That's just too weird, because on the men's side it's not like that. But I get it, because it's politics, all that stuff. But because especially after the Sweet 16, you had teams getting ready for the Elite 8, and then I'm like, huh? So it was like really kind of hard to like kind of keep up with the games, because Friday, like Maryland, South Carolina played, and then South Carolina had to turn around and get ready for Duke. And then they had to get ready. I'm like, what are we doing? So, and then somebody, I mean, like, again, where's we can space out the games. We got to, there's something has to be done about that. I'm just not a fan of that. But other than that, it's been great to watch good basketball. Again, I didn't do no bracket this year, so I hope your bracket was consistent. But other than that, that's going to do it for me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. You let me know who the teams you're picking for the NCAA tournament, and we'll talk soon. Please like, comment, and subscribe for our future content, and we'll talk soon. Peace. Stay out.
But they don't know.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you.
But they don't know.